I'm Jessica Caldwell and I'm the owner of Sparkles and Skulls Witchcraft. Around Boxing Day, I was on a Facebook group having a little look, and I just came across some spiritual posts and I was like, this is something that I'd really wish, like a gift that I really wish I had. I had what's known as a spiritual awakening. So I delved into crystals. I went on a shopping spree the day after Boxing Day and bought a ton of crystals, tarot cards, and it was just something that I'd always intuitively wanted to get into. Started down the kind of crystal tarot route. I decided to start practicing for friends and family on Facebook. I had tons and tons and tons of people let me practice on them for free. And turns out I was incredibly intuitive, and I was getting names and I was getting these things coming up that was actually probably more scary to me than it was them. And I, working as a beautician in the salon, self-employed, I remember the day COVID kind of hit and they announced the lockdown, one of my customers said to me, I said, how am I going to make any money? How am I going to pay my bills? And she said, well, you've got loads of interest with your tarot you're practicing. Why don't you just charge like £5 per reading? I guess kind of desperate times calls for desperate measures. And I decided to charge a £5 per reading. And I was getting probably 10, 20, 30 readings a day, which is really hard going on your energy. And that was all through COVID. So I was making enough to kind of pay my bills. I then decided by the January, the following year, that I was going to leave and I was able to do it full time. I just decided that this was something I loved, something I enjoyed, and I just knew in my intuition that I could do it as a full-time job. I spoke to my parents, my aunt, everything, and they were all sort of, do you really think this is a good idea? I decided to ignore everyone and go on my own instincts. So I created my Instagram account, which is known as Sparkles and Skulls Witchcraft, and it's just growing and growing and growing and blossoming. It's really funny because I'm so spiritual, but I've always been very, very skeptical. I've always been interested, but I've always been that side of, how can that be real? There's no physical way I would know that about that person. And they might go about their day thinking, oh great, I've had this reading, of course she's gonna know that. For me, I think, oh my God, this is crazy. I feel positively every day, one, that I'm helping others, but it's made me completely see life in a completely different way.